Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast. Time to hashtag everything. We talk about all the fun, crazy stories on social media. From Instagram to Facebook, Twitter to Tumblr, or probably even Friendster. Join us each week as we explore the quirky side of social media. It's the Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast.
It's simple, such a sad song. The one that we rely on to get us.
Hello and welcome to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast, brought to you by GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Staci, and today we're talking about some sort of interconnecting things, thematically speaking. See if you can figure out what they are. So the first story, which is just so very cute, is that a Labrador has seemingly adopted 9 ducklings, which is just... Okay, so this 10-year-old Labrador named Fred in Essex has essentially adopted 9 baby ducks who were born at the castle, and then their mother just sort of disappeared. And so the dog is kind of just sort of taking it upon himself, and the ducklings follow him around. And if you look up the pictures, it's very cute. There's one where he got all 9 ducks just sort of sitting on his back, and there's one where he's just lying around while the ducklings sort of peep around him, and it's just like, oh, because they're really cute when they're young, and then they're not ugly when they get older, but they're not as cute. And it just made me think of that movie Fly Away Home, where she has the baby geese who all follow her around, because I believe that whole imprinting on the first thing you see thing is kind of true, though I'm not sure that's the case in this story. But it is just very like, wow, so cute. And there have been many things you can find, and I cannot even remember how I discovered this. I think something with cats, and I like cats, and then got onto cats, and then got onto cat videos and kittens, and then other things where you start seeing sort of animals taken babies of different species. So I remember there was one, I can't remember the breed of dog right now, where a dog that had given puppies had also sort of adopted this group of kittens because I believe their mother had died or something. And so it was taking care of the kittens. And there's this cute video where it's in a large kennel, animal cage, the pet carrier. I'll go with pet carrier. I don't actually have pets, so I'm not quite sure what that's called. It's in there with both the puppies and the kittens. And the puppies are all just sort of content to just sort of lie down next to each other and sleep and sort of nose at their mother if they're hungry. And the kittens are much more troublesome and are just like, I must get up and explore everything, as some really cute videos of kittens would lead me to believe they always do. And so the mother dog is constantly having to get up and pick up the kittens in her mouth and bring them back to the cage. And then the other kitten wants to go, so she has to go and pick it up and bring it back. And it was just so very cute. I was just like, oh, they're so troublesome and oh, so adorable. I really like cute things. I really like kittens. Not so much. I'm not a big dog person, even though pretty much everybody else in my family is, which is frustrating. When we wanted a pet, we ended up not getting any large thing. We got a couple of we got fish, I think 3 different times, and always killed them pretty quickly because we clearly can't keep fish alive. But we never really got a traditional pet of a dog or a cat or even, a rabbit or something. It was just fish and fish. But so I always wanted a cat. My sister wanted a dog. My mother would also have preferred a dog, even though she had a cat when she was younger. Not fair. But yes, it's very cute to see this sort of... I know a lot of people, especially on social media, when these things happen, when you can see these videos of one animal taking care of a different animal that you start seeing comments that people make about like recognizing, I wanted to say recognizing their humanity, but their nope. But how people should be like these animals and be able to accept and love those who are different. And it's just like, yeah, that's a sweet message also, even though it's mostly just the cuteness that I came to this video for. But it's very nice that you can find this sweet, philosophical almost even message in these things. I believe they stated for this one, for the Labrador with the ducklings, there were a number of comments of that's just how Labradors are. And again, I don't have pets and don't really care about dogs, so I couldn't tell you much about the difference in characteristics between different dog breeds, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and assume Labradors are loving and loyal and caring or something. But that the plan is for the ducklings to stay at the castle in Essex at least until they are older. But then it's questionable what will happen, and they did not specifically say if like the ducklings are expected to leave, if they'll take the ducklings other places, if there's a specific plan once they're old enough to be on their own to like take them to a animal sanctuary or something. And given how much this made me think of Fly Away Home, I'm now questioning if that would even work, because it seems that the ducklings at least knew their mother and then the mother somehow disappeared, but they've taken now to this Labrador. If the Labrador has become this sort of surrogate mother for them, wouldn't they want to stay with the Labrador even when they're older? Again, I'm basing my knowledge off of a movie, so I could be completely wrong. People who know more about animals and ducks, please let me know. But it's just like, can you even separate them later? I don't know. It's very nice to see I kind of don't want them to, but I also I don't want them to grow up. And I'm really terrible with that with little cute things. It's like, oh, why do you have to grow up and get bigger? But then also, wait, why do I really find almost all little helpless things that probably couldn't survive on its own very cute? That's probably some sort of biological ingrained thought process that we have to find them cute and therefore want to take care of them, and therefore they get taken care of and so can survive to actual adulthood. But it's just like, yeah, wait, I don't, some questions here beyond the really cute picture with the 9 ducklings on the Labrador's back. And also, how long did it take to get that picture? Just, what is the long-term plan, and can there be a long-term plan? And it's one of those things you kind of just don't want to. It's like, can't we just stay here in this moment with the cuteness and not have to think about the reality that will one day come along here? Sort of like Charlotte's Web of, let's not really think about what that pig is for. It's just a really cute pig, and we'll keep it for now. So yeah, I know that's a bit of a downing. So I won't end the story on that. I will go back to cuteness. Just that beyond even mothering of animals, which again, going along with humans' biological thing to find most young things cute, some animals seem to have as well, that you also can find videos of different animals of different species sort of becoming friends, a la Fox and the Hound. That was actually kind of sad. I evidently cannot stay away from sad things at the moment. Just go look up videos of kittens, and we'll take that as our not so sad thing. And we're gonna take a break while I try and get my happy cuteness back. So stay tuned.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now, don't bother, what's hot on Netflix, and everything in between. That's gsmcpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast. Our next story, whereas the Labrador seemed very loving mother, even though it was a dog named Fred. This next story, interesting approach to mothering, in that a woman went to get her children's name tattooed on her arm. Nothing so strange about that. Lots of parents I know have done that. But it turned out that one of her children's names was spelled wrong in her tattoo, which right away I'm already like, no, seriously? I don't have a tattoo. I've never gotten one, and I didn't go with anyone I know who has a tattoo when they did have theirs. So all I really know about tattooing is from what I've seen on the internet and like Ink Master. When I somehow happened upon a marathon of that and just watched it to the end of whatever season it was before the new season began. I was like, interesting. Don't know that I could get a tattoo. Most definitely do not want one as big as some of the people on the show are getting, but interesting thing going on here. But one of the things that I got from that is that, especially for tattoos that are just black, it seems like they often use I'm going to call it a stencil, though I'm not sure that's what it's called. It's like a sort of pre-inking kind of done in purple to see what it looks like and to see where it should be placed. And then they go through and outline that and then fill it in, I think. So I'm wondering, this happened in Sweden, so maybe they do tattooing a bit differently there. But it's just like, wait, didn't you do the stencil before actually tattooing this person? And wasn't there someone there with her to see that? Because she only later found out that her son's name is Kevin, but on her arm it's tattooed Kelvin. She only later found out when she was driving home and her cousin took a picture, and then she could see it sort of right side up, because when she's just looking down at her arm, it looks okay. But then when you actually can see it, you can see, no, wait, that's not how it's spelled. But if the cousin was there, shouldn't the cousin have noticed when the inking, sheeting, whatever was occurring? I don't know. But so anyway, she decided to take the most interesting, I think, approach to this problem, in that she went back and complained to the tattoo person, and they're like, oh, well, you can get it removed by tattoo laser removal or whatever. But then when they looked that up, discovered that could take like a year, decided, well, let's just change the kid's name to Kelvin. Which, what? Just, wait, what? Because, and it's not like this is a baby who's not going to fully remember. I mean, the kid is 5, so he might not remember that he was ever Kevin. But why? Yeah, I don't know that I would do that. I mean, I think I'm nervous enough that if ever I got a tattoo, I would like quadruple check before a needle came anywhere near my skin that it was exactly what I wanted and said exactly what I wanted to say, spelled correctly. And then whoever I had brought with me, because I believe you're actually, at least maybe just where I live, or maybe that's just some tattoo artist, to be safe, you have to have someone with you just in case you get like nauseous or faint or something and can't like drive yourself home or whatever. You have to have sort of your emergency contact there with you, someone who can take care of you in a sort of medical situation. So yeah, they would definitely be checking for me to be like, okay, read what it says. What do you think it says? Spell it out for me. Make sure it's correct. Make sure it's exactly in the right place. I want a mirror, and I want two mirrors so I can see the mirror through the mirror and see the reflection as it should look. So I'm not looking at it backwards, upside down. Like, I would be so nervous. I'd be like, you're not coming near me until I've made 180% sure that this is exactly what I wanted it to be. But even if it wasn't, even if somehow you did get somehow my whoever's name I was getting tattooed misspelled, I'm not sure I would change my kid's name to sort of fix that problem. I would probably, because think about it, this kid now, and I'm hoping that this is just sort of, we decided to call him Kelvin, not we went through and legally changed it. I had a hard time. I couldn't find whether or not it was like, you legally changed it, or it was just, we're just going to call him Kelvin, but not, his name's really Kevin, but we're all going to call him Kelvin for the rest of his life. But either way, again, this is the rest of this kid's life that he has to be Kevin Kelvin confusion versus the year or so it would have taken for the tattoo removal. Like, isn't that the simpler option than the rest of a kid's life? Just, okay. I mean, to each their own, I guess. I wish all the best for Kevin Kelvin, and yeah. But I mean, tattooing just in general, I know some of my family members have tattoos and friends have tattoos, and again, I don't like needles, which is why I never like shots. I refuse to even try acupuncture, and I've considered a tattoo because there's some things that I would like, but I'm just like, I don't like anything to the point where I'm like, I absolutely must do this. I'm still fine in my life if I don't have a tattoo. So no, we're good. Plus it's, not cheap. It shouldn't be cheap. If you're getting a quality tattoo, it's not cheap, and you probably want a quality tattoo versus a cheap one that will then have problems later, or look ugly, or get infected, or spend the money for the better tattoo, I guess. But even beyond that, like, even on Ink Master, when I was watching, there was the marathon, and then they had the redemption or something, and I apologize to Ink Master and all its fans if I'm completely, not saying these properly, and there is no Ink Master redemption whatsoever, but where people who had been on the show previously and didn't like their tattoos could come back and sort of confront the tattoo artist who had done it and see what was wrong with them. And I'm just like, no, I am way too concerned about what you would be tattooing to sort of go on the show and be like, do it. Especially there's some people who are like, they don't even want a specific tattoo. You can tattoo whatever you want on their body. Enter challenge here. And I'm just, no, wait, what? You're totally okay with this person you've never met before putting their random design on your body permanently? Okay. Because again, and maybe it's just tattoos make me so nervous that I couldn't do it for any reason that wasn't immensely personal. And so it would most definitely not be a random thing or for a random challenge. It would most definitely be something I specifically chose, something, if not that I designed myself, that I had the idea and I had the artist tweak it until it was what I wanted, as long as that's, actually possible with tattooing techniques and skills and technology. But that just to go in and get a tattoo, and I'm not saying anything's wrong. Like, my sister has tattoos that I think some of them was just like, I just want a tattoo. And I'm like, okay, that one's not hideous, and you didn't place it in a strange part of your body, and you can still, get most jobs with it. So, okay, there's somewhere I question, but other than that, I'm like, but for me personally, it's such a personal thing for me that I would have to, A, choose it myself, but then B, quadruple, quintuple, septuple, like a dozen times, check that tattoo was proper. And if it wasn't proper, again, choosing my kid's name would also probably have been that personal, so I wouldn't change my kid's name that much either. So I might have gone with the year-long removal. But this woman chose not to, and she's entitled to her own parenting opinions and tattoo opinions, and not sure how to describe that, but an interesting story nonetheless. So we're going to take another short break. Stay tuned.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast. For our third story, we're going to sort of jump back to animals in the most amazing way I think I've ever heard, which is that a man called 911 to report that he was being followed by a pig. And not like a wild boar, like just a pig. And the police were somewhat understandably skeptical when this happened. It was at night. It was sort of in the early morning, but with the night shift of police. And so they assumed that he was drunk because he was calling at like 5:20 something in the morning. They assumed he was drunk. They thought he was leaving a bar and sort of hallucinating this pig, and yet called the police. So when they arrive and see it's an actual pig following, they're like, oh, okay. And an officer managed to wrangle the pig into his police car. And the police, even when they put out the sort of, I think it was on Instagram or Facebook about this, we're like, no, we specifically have to use can you use other words than wrangle for a pig? But they wrangled the pig into the car, and there's a great picture of the pig in the car with the seatbelt on because we still want the pig to be safe. And eventually they took it. The police, I think, were having a bit of fun with this this release that they put out. They took it back to the police station. And they were going to say they put it in the pig pen, but they actually put it in the dog kennel because the pig pen would be the regular police place. But then they also were like, also, we will mention the irony of the pig in a police car now so that anyone that thinks they're funny is actually unoriginal and trying too hard. The police were like, we completely admit this whole thing is A, crazy, and B, we assumed too much, and C, yeah, we get it. We get where the jokes and puns could be in. We're just going to jump to them so you can't do it yourselves. And it's just like, what the heck? What a strange... Yeah, I don't know that you could... How would you take that phone call if you were like the 911 dispatcher? Of, hello, yes, I'm being followed by a pig. It's like, is that a euphemism for something? Do you mean you're being followed by like a fat person? Or are you being followed by a cop? What do you mean you're being followed by? I'm being followed by an actual pig. Okay. What? But also, I think I'd actually be somewhat terrified if a pig was following me, particularly in the wee dark hours of the morning. It's like psychotic pig, devil pig. This pig's about to like rush me and attack me. What is with this pig? Go away. Like, I've actually come across sometimes where if I'm like out walking in the neighborhood, if I see a dog not on a leash, I'm just like, nope. And sometimes when I see cats, and again, I like cats, but depending on the cat, and there are a number of feral cats in my neighborhood where I live, I'm just like, which way are you going? So I cannot go that same way. Are you going to cross the street? Because I will stay on the side of the street and tell you, go away, leave me alone, don't come near me, because I don't feel calm enough to be able to deal with the situation. What do I do? Yeah. So good for the man, even just for being calm enough to call 911. Though I don't know actually what else you would call if you're being followed by an animal. Now I'm thinking of that. Like I don't know if a a ferret got out and was following me. Yeah, listeners, if you know who you should call in the very unlikely event that an animal is following you, not yet attacking, but following you, and perhaps not super dangerous, but still following you, please let me know on social media so I can be prepared for the once in a however ridiculous amount, not likely to happen chance that I would be followed by this animal. It's always good to be prepared, of course. But also, speaking of cops, and this is great, is that James Corden and Adam Levine were pulled over while they were doing Carpool Karaoke. So Carpool Karaoke, for those who don't know, is a popular segment on James Corden's show where it's kind of exactly what it sounds like. James Corden's in a car with a celebrity or celebrities, and they sing along to songs, because don't we all do that when we're in cars? Isn't that the whole purpose for like a radio in a car, is just so we can all sing along? No? Oh, okay. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But anyways, they're doing this and they're just singing a song and being pretty chill about it. And a LA police or sheriff officer pulls over to the side and puts on his light and sirens. And James Corden is driving and is like, oh man, we're really being pulled over right now. And rolls down the window, because he's on the passenger side, rolls down the window and is like, yes, can I help you? And he's like, pull over so he can sing me a song. And he's like, you want me to pull over so he can sing you a song? Yes, because you're causing a traffic accident or backup or something. It seems that he was not, the officer was not fully serious, but he did recognize that it was them and also that there were camera people. They did not actually have to get out the car. They didn't have to, explain anything or call their lawyers or get a ticket or anything. They stayed in the car and the officer went off. But that was, even James Corden said that was a first, which, yes. Yes, let me pull over so he can sing you a song. Okay, that's the most interesting thing that would happen in my day. Like, I don't drive too much, so I've never technically been pulled over. I've been in the car when people have been pulled over and not had a major problem with it. Usually actually nothing happens when we go on our way. Sometimes the person's been given a ticket. Sometimes it was, oh, hey, by the way, your taillight's not working. Oh, thank you about that. Or your what's it called? The sticker on your license plate is not up to date. But can you tell I don't have a car? Your registration. I think that's your registration. I don't have a car. I apologize. But to be pulled over while doing Carpool Karaoke, for doing Carpool Karaoke, when he seemed to be driving just fine. Like, I get that he's, driving while singing, while still technically hosting a TV show. So he might be a bit distracted, but it looked from the camera angles that they showed that he was driving just fine and safely. So again, it's not clear that the officer was really serious about it or was just sort of yanking their chain, but definitely a first for Carpool Karaoke. And yeah, great clip. James Corden handled it well. Adam Levine was very chill. He even mentioned that afterwards. He's like, how are you just so calm right now? James Corden said he was freaking out, but he still handled it very well and very respectfully. And Adam Levine was just like, yeah, whatever. Oh, he pulled me out. Okay, I'm good. So I hope to always be that chill whenever dealing with police officers, though I even more so hope to not really ever have to deal with police officers. And I hope the same for all the listeners. And on that note, we're going to end for today. Thank you for listening to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Social Media Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.